Slaughterhouse.
Good morning, maggots, and welcome to the Slaughterhouse. More accurately, welcome to the Slammer House.
Well, now things are gonna get interesting. That's Sgt Slammer.
That's right, maggots. This week we are looking at the Action Force Triple T and its driver, Sgt Slammer. And who better to explain this audacious name change than the Sarge himself?
Yours truly, getting back in the saddle. You know, Action Force is part of GIJoe. That was just the UK. When Sgt Slaughter was over in the UK, they couldn't say Sgt Slaughter, the real American hero. That makes sense, right? So they called it Sgt Slaughter Action Force. My name was not Sgt Slaughter. My name was Sgt Slammer. Couldn't use Slaughter because they didn't think it was appropriate. So, anyway, GIJoe, yo, Joe.
Thanks, Sarge, for that quick history lesson. Now let's get on with the rest of the review.
Well, okay, I'm your man. Slammer House style training starts at 0600 hours tomorrow. Ready or not?
Released in the UK in the late 80s, before the transitional period from being Action Force to full-blown G.I. Joe, Sgt Slammer looks almost identical to his US release, Sgt Slaughter. They even shared the same swagger stick accessory, though this version's is long gone. The only real differences are the camo pattern on the uniform. There are several camo pattern differences, even within Sgt Slaughter US release figures, so this particular pattern might not be solely dedicated to Sgt Slammer. As is typical with most Triple T drivers, you will find paint wear in the whistle and the tank top. Action Force would eventually transition into G.I. Joe for the UK market. There would be one more example released of the renamed Sarge, none other than the Warthog driver himself. But I have a special guest to tell us all about that version of Sgt Slammer, Steve from GIJoburg.
Morning, maggots. This is Steve from GIJoburg, here to talk to you about Sgt Slaughter version 3. Or is it? No, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sgt Slammer, the UK release. Also came with the Warthog AFIV, had a slight difference in the file card, but I'd say the major difference is... Now, that's a trick question. There isn't a difference at all. The action figure itself, as far as I'm concerned, is exactly the same as Sgt Slaughter, the American release. The vehicle, however, I do believe, has a darker shade of green, whereas the American green is more an olive drab. The UK release is more of an emerald, a deeper, darker green, and the plastic quality is slightly different. I had the UK release as a child, and I would say that it's probably machined a little bit more finely and made out of a slightly more brittle plastic. I tried to replace my broken missile stem from my childhood Warthog with the American release. Big mistake. It was slightly too large for the housing, and it snapped all of the little teeth. So, bit of a sad story that, but don't make the same mistake I did. In any case, the figure itself, as I say, precisely the same. No material differences there. And that's all I have to say about that, so I guess I'm dismissed?
Thank you, Steve. Here is a little known fact. The Sgt Slaughter that appears in the GIJoburg Slaughterhouse episode is none other than this very Sgt Slammer. Stephen and I pored over every minute detail, trying to find as many differences as we could find between Sgt Slaughter and Sgt Slammer. But while we were poring over those details, a bartender was pouring beer after beer, so I'm afraid by the end of it, we were none the wiser. But that's enough about the Sarge, because it's time to take a look at the Triple T. At first glance, you might not see any obvious differences, but it's not until we roll in the G.I. Joe Triple T that those differences become more apparent. Aside from the cosmetic differences the stickers provide, there's actually a far more substantial alteration, which becomes more evident when the drivers are removed. Much like with the Warthog, the shade of green used for the cockpit and undercarriage differ considerably, and Provided the stickers have been applied as intended, a 360 view really shows off the Action Force Triple T's individuality. Notably, the USA sticker has been replaced with one of the blue and white star decals, which, aside from the serial number detail, is the only carryover from the US release. Gone are the G.I. Joe decals in favor of Action Force, and the other more obvious change is the addition of Sgt Slammer's codename. With the engine cover removed, we can still see that great engine detail, but now in that different shade of green. And is that tiny detail in there a fuel cap? Maybe. The engine cover is a frequently missing piece, as is the side missiles, but at least the missiles saw a re-release, this time in grey. But I'm not sure if the UK ever saw the vehicle gear packs. The blueprints are largely the same between the two releases. Aside from the paper quality, UK's being more slick and glossy, the images of the Triple T are printed on top of the grid for the UK, but the grid runs through the Triple T's image on the US. My absolute favourite change has to be the edit to number 6, where it goes from being a Slaughter-sized command seat to Slammer-sized. Taking a look at the file card, there are actually some curious additions to the UK version. In fact, I think I might prefer this version over the US version. One of the most impressive changes is the recognition to the Sarge's wrestling roots. Something even the mail-away version omitted, and that version was literally wearing wrestling tights. Who else but the toughest American tag wrestler could pilot the backbreaker that is the tag team Terminator? Anyway, that's all from me. Next time I'll be taking a look at the Argentinian release known as Sgt Slaughter. Have a great evening. You're dismissed.
G.I. Joe, real American hero. G.I. Joe was there. G.I. Joe.
Attention maggots, welcome to the Slaughterhouse. I'm Sgt Slaughter. Make sure you tune in to be related to all the things that we do with Sgt Slaughter, WWE, G.I. Joe, Action Force. Have I made myself clear? Good. Then keep watching, keep listening, tune in, and that's in order. Yo, Joe, full force.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment down below.